I would like to welcome to the stage with me right now is the President of Finland, Sauli Niinistö, currently the head of the Council of the European Union, where climate change is at the top of the agenda right now. Thank you, Mr. President. We were just talking backstage a little bit, but as a country, Finland has really set itself apart when it comes to climate action, aggressively investing in clean energy research and development. First and foremost, where does this come from, Mr. President? Is this a personal mission for you, or do you feel that this is a mandate coming from the Finnish people?
I feel it's a mandate from Finnish tradition, actually. You know that Finland is a forest-covered country, and we do give a lot of value to environment, to our forests, to nature, and thus fighting against climate change is quite natural in Finland.
There is a goal that you have set of being carbon neutral by the year 2035. How do you get there in 15 years?
That will be very, very tough target. But how I want to get closer to that is that I try to remind ordinary people that in your behavior, daily behavior, in your household, you can start, for example, by avoiding wasting food. Very easy and non-expensive. You save money with that. Well, I understand very well that one individual, even many individuals together, don't reach very remarkable concrete results, but the mindset, that is most important. I found it in my own behavior. I hate wasting food. And I have all the time kind of argument with our cook. But nevertheless, if you start to, in your own behavior, take notice to impact on climate change, that means that you demand, you push others forward. And being a politician, I know that tough decisions are very difficult to do if people are against that. But if the mindset is there, it makes also decision making a lot easier. If people really start to demand, you have to do this and this, well, if you raise the price of fuel, okay, you can do it if it's necessary. Something like that.
Right. It's clearly become a personal mission of yours. What then do you do? As you said, you're a politician and you know that this can be, you have to make difficult choices. What then do you think when you hear another politician, the leader of another nation, say that climate change is a hoax and is taking steps currently to roll back federally climate-related government regulation? Obviously, I'm talking about Donald Trump here. What do you do?
I met, and I will meet Trump again
next
week. Yes. I met him 2 years ago here in Washington, and I told him about the problem in Arctic, which is black carbon, soot, like they say. It surely is something else than CO2 in the air, but everybody understands, and President Trump did, that if you cover Arctic with black carbon and the sun is shining, so the melting will accelerate. I think I'd take that one again, because by stopping or reducing remarkably the emission of soot, the results are immediate.
Do you think you can convince President Trump of that? Do you think I mean, there's no evidence that he's been convinced.
He admitted to me that, yes, this sounds very logical. And I heard him saying yesterday, and in G7, that he values pure air and pure water. Okay, if they are valuable, one has to do something to keep them.
So you see opportunity in that.
That's what I guess I'm going to say.
Some hope you find?
I do not expect any difficulties.
So you did mention you're meeting with the president at the White House in Washington next week. Is this your top priority? Is talking about climate your top priority?
It's one of them, but surely we have a lot of bilateral relations.
Yes.
And I would like to talk with him also about geopolitics, arms control, these kind of things, and the Arctic.
On climate, how important is the role of the United States in terms of a global response? Can you tackle it? Can you tackle the climate crisis without the United States?
We need everybody, but fortunately I understand that in the United States many states are taking seriously and doing all the time remarkable work.
Black carbon you mentioned, why is that such a focus for you? What is it about it that is grabbing your attention right now so much?
Well, just simply, if we spread black carbon on ice and snow, everybody understands that it melts. And if it melts in Arctic, that means that the sea level will rise. The warmth coming from sun doesn't reflect back to the space, but goes straight to open waters. So it means warming up everything. And I used to say that if we lose the Arctic, we lose the globe.
It's that.
So simple.
It starts there. It's that. It's as simple as that. Finland has been aggressive on climate change, against climate change, not only internally but externally as well. I found it fascinating that Finland has proposed a ban on beef imports from Brazil over its handling of the forest fires in the Amazon. Do you want that to be, are you looking for that to be the new normal? Is that how serious it is in terms of the urgency that you proposing and looking toward trade bans over climate issues?
Actually, Finland hasn't officially proposed anything like that. I consider a lot more important the cooperation that Finland with Chile has started with finance ministers. They actually have 40 of them now, increasing the number of finance ministers joining this agreement all the time, also here in New York during this week. And they have agreed that in all actions, Ministry of Finance, and you know, tax legislation, budget, investments, in everything, they take notice to impact to climate change. And I'm very convinced about this. If you allow me, I repeat one of my personal experiences that took place in 2006. I used to be a Minister of Finance, and I respected a lot a gentleman called Nick Stern, because he was economist. And then suddenly he came up with a report telling us that it's dangerous, this climate change. That opened my eyes. You know, we humans are such that if somebody whose mission actually is far away from something suddenly takes the issue up, you believe. I believed. And now the finance ministers are, in a way, in every government having the same role, waking up ministers.
It's fascinating.
I have a lot of expectation to that.
You do seem very hopeful, and which is a wonderful thing to be when you're facing down this crisis. But what worries you most as you have these conversations? Is it that people still don't understand the urgency of the problem, or they do and they don't care, other priorities?
The first one, I think it's most important that we get a clear majority of ordinary people understand the problem and being on board. Everybody in his or her own way not necessarily limiting their lives. That's first message I try to keep to Finns. That doesn't mean that your life would somehow be limited if you take notice. On the contrary, it might become more interesting. You watch your consuming, and while you go shopping, earlier on you maybe just estimated the price and the quality. Now you can estimate also what's the impact. Very interesting.
Mr. President, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
you
you
so much for being here. Thank you so much for your attention and the position and your aggressive efforts against climate change. We really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
very
all so
much.
much for being
Thank
here.
you. Thank you.